the Awareness Guy. Now, let's start the show.
Live without music.
There we are. We're on. We're on. We're live, guys.
Okay. All righty. Okay, Norm, how are you?
I am fine. I'd be better if we have music. Do we have music, Dylan?
Sorry, just a little technical issues. We'll have that squared away.
Technical issues. There's been
Nothing like that.
rampant technical
By the way, I'm in
issues.
a new studio tonight, just for you, Jeff.
Yes,
We're in-
thank you.
We're in a new studio.
Oh,
So
wow.
Whatever could go wrong can always go wrong in some place that's new.
Yes.
But we don't need the music if we
I
have Jeff
I
on.
don't think we do. So I'm not going to sing. We're just going to say, welcome everybody to the Business Awareness Hour. My name is Norman. With me, my co-host for this evening is Miss Linda Grace Farley from Florida. And our guest tonight is Jeff Lambert. He happens to be turning us on tonight with his LED lighting and his wisdom in the industry of what he's all about.
He's
But,
illuminating everybody tonight.
Oh, that was
Very
good, Linda.
That's the word I was searching for. I knew there was another word that showed a little intelligence, but I should know better. I should know better. Anyway, Jeff, welcome to the Business Awareness Hour. You live down in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I do. I live in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania.
I'm going to be
Beautiful
there
country.
in a couple of weeks for a concert.
Yes, you invited me, and I will see everything I can do to make it there, Norman.
Boy, that would be great. That would be great. So you're in Lancaster, Linda Grace is in Florida, and I'm here on Long Island, New York. And I'm the only one who doesn't have an accent.
Right.
All right, so let's get started with this thing. The name of your company is called Bottom Line Systems. Tell us what Bottom Line Systems does.
Bottom Line Systems, we're an energy services company. We have two services we provide. One is obviously we save our customers money by providing LED lighting, which is energy efficient. And the other part of that is when you don't have energy, we supply backup generators. We're a Cummins dealer. And so we serve on both sides of the energy world.
You know, I happen to love LED lighting. I have changed every bulb in my house. I don't like yellow tint.
Mhm.
I like the nice, clear, bright, type of lighting. So when you walk into a store and you see or a facility of any kind and you see LED lighting, it's so refreshing.
Yes.
How'd you get into that business?
We when we started our business in 2014, we were actually in the solar business, and the market changed here in Pennsylvania, and we needed somewhere to go, and wanted to stay in the energy market. So we did a little research on LED and haven't turned back since. And the part of the most unique thing about LED and what really has held our interest, it doesn't change as fast as computers do. So over the 7 or 8 years that we've been doing it, we watched some subtle changes. One is what you said, Norman, about the Kelvin or color or temperature of LED. They've now been able to control that better. So if it's over top of food, it's a color. If it's over top of Linda, it's a different color. If you're in a restaurant, it's a different color. And the technology now has just totally changed and has become obviously more efficient as well.
It's a great selling point. Tell me what Cummins Generated did or does.
So just for the background, Cummins is one of the largest engine manufacturers globally. They put engines in everything from tractors to tractor trailer engines, huge generators, and some turbines. And on default, they decided that they needed a division to compete in the world of backup generators. And just for purposes of knowledge, just backup generator is a whole house generator. So when your power goes out, Norman, this would automatically kick in about 3 or 4 seconds and restore the energy back to your house. And we had looked for an ancillary product. LED is our main product to sell. Look for an ancillary one, because if you get all your eggs in one basket, we know what can happen. So when
Sure.
we did, Cummings actually came to us when we were researching a competitor and compared their product to, if you want to put a generator in that's a lawnmower engine, you could use your competitors. But if you want a company that builds engines for tractor trailers and buses, you put a Cummings in. And we were sold on the spot. What a great company. They've been in business for over 100 years.
Was it the
Nice.
same, was it the same amount of money?
They're they're a little bit more expensive, but when we say more expensive,
little.
somewhere between $300 and $500. And just remember, Norman, I come with the generator, so it's well worth the extra money.
So their lifetime on a generator like that, what is the, you know, if you can explain, because I would imagine there's a lot of people out there that are very interested in generators, right?
Right.
What is the lifetime of a generator? I mean, because I understand there's the gas powered, obviously, and then there's other types where maybe solar power or electric power or something to that effect.
So there's, and that's actually a good question, Linda. And I find out when I meet with, residential folks, we service that market as well. Is a standby generator is the one you buy at Home Depot or Lowe's. It sits in the garage, and when your power goes out, you pull it out, you put gas in it, you manually start it, and then feed a few extension cords in and power your necessities,
Mhm.
refrigerator or freezer. Where a standby generator is hooked directly to your meter, your electric meter on your home, that when the
Mhm.
power from the utility stops the meter, a transfer switch tells the generator to come on. And that generator, then, to answer your other question, is fueled either by LP gas, LP gas, or natural
Mhm.
gas. My sake, here at my home, we have natural gas. The
Okay.
larger ones for our commercial customers are on-site diesel.
Okay.
And the other part of your question is how long would one of these last? It depends on how long your power is out, but these engines are to run for about 50,000 hours.
50,000?
50,000, with the idea that monthly it runs through a cycle that tests to make sure that it will come on. One of the worst things we have is a customer buys the generator, they lose power and it doesn't come on. So Cummins has a remote start program. It starts it up, runs through a cycle for 15 minutes, and lets the dealer, myself, and the homeowner know that it's working correctly. And if there's a failure, we get a notification immediately that it ran through a cycle, and change the oil and gas like you do in your car. We do that annually as a service, and it should be sold with a house. You go to sell it, it will definitely upsell the
I have a
house.
question. The cars today, the SUVs and the larger type cars, even the small ones, have very streamlined lighting. They're like tubes.
Right.
Is that LED lighting?
Yes, in all the new cars, it's LED lighting, and the tube is the shape of the cover over the LED. So LED is light emitting diode. The diode is about an 1/8 inch square. It's about the thickness of your fingernail, and it always shines in a straight line. So if you didn't have the cover off, you would see 10 LEDs just shining in a straight line. But that's also what Volvo uses, that technology, to have their headlights aimed down to the ground when a car passes by, move back
Mhm.
up. But what you're seeing is the actual covering over the light emitting
That's
diodes
crazy.
or
That's
LED.
crazy. Now, is there different types of, let's say a restaurant? And I say a restaurant because Linda's son is in the restaurant business.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you walk into a restaurant, is it the lighting does it depend on the rest type of food and such, where it puts you like in the mood? Does LED come with like mood? I know in some cars now you can change the color inside the car because it has what we were just talking about, the thin tubing
Right.
goes all around
Mhm.
the inside of the car, and you can change the colors.
Right.
Mhm.
So color changes our mood, to Norman. So when we go into a restaurant, if Linda's son runs a restaurant that serves steak. So where they
Mhm.
want is you want to sit and you want to relax and enjoy your evening. If you look behind Norman and you can see the sunset, that's the color to put you in a mood to enjoy a steak, have a drink, our bourbon, spend time and spend money.
Oh, yeah.
That's that end of the restaurant business. In the quick serve market, which is Burger King's, KFC's, they want you in and out. We
Yeah.
put 5,000, 4,000 or 5,000 Kelvin, which is daylighting to make, they don't want them to be comfortable. They want to go in and serve once again, turn them over, get tables emptied up, get them out. And then with COVID, that helped complete that cycle, you know, because
go-
more people use the drive-through.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
go through that with concerts, because if I'm working a casino, they want me in and they want me out. They'll tell me to take the hour and a half, hour and three-quarter show and turn it into an hour,
Right,
because they want them in, they want them back at the tables.
Mhm,
right.
mhm.
And if you
Yeah.
notice
Yeah.
over the tables, it's very bright, it's very light. You can't fall asleep in a casino. And
Right.
that's done through their lighting as well.
So do they use LED as well, Jeff?
So
The casinos?
yes, most modern casinos have it. It's actually another good point is LED is still coming into play. A
Mhm.
lot of people that we meet with really don't know what LED is, and I have a sample and I show them what it is, and all they know is it saves money and it's a really neat light.
Mhm.
But when putting up new buildings today, 70% being put up with incandescent bulbs and fixtures because it's so cheap, because they have warehouses of them and they don't sell them anymore as new. So the architects, designers of these buildings use them to use it up. And I'm fine with that, because once they move into that building and realize that they can save energy by going with LED and there's rebate programs, then I just have a customer. So I'm fine with whatever they put in up front.
So Jeff, you mentioned rebate programs. So for our listeners tonight, could you elaborate a little bit? Because, they could have regular standard lighting, right? And they'd like to know a little bit more about how the LED, because let's look at this, right?
Right.
Electricity is getting very expensive, right?
Yes.
So could you elaborate a little bit more on how they can save money and how much time and effort's involved and all that good stuff?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what, Linda, would be a good idea is to walk you through our process to answer your question, that because there's a system in place. We offer a on-site lighting assessment, and we use an example of a project that we just finished up at a car dealership. So we go and we meet with the owner of the car dealership. We walk around. We still use a clipboard and a pen,
Mhm.
old
Mhm.
school, because he's old
Mhm.
school. And we write down what lights are, how many there are, what their hours, how long they're on. And then we also look at what the environment is. They're selling cars, high-end 60, 70,
sure,
80,
sure.
$90,000 cars. And then what we do, then we take that back to the office and we figure out how much energy you're using, what light are we going to go back with. We then take that information, Linda, and we send that to the utility company. The
Ooh.
utility company comes back and goes, hey, you're reducing their energy between 50 and 75% is a good number. And if you do this, we're willing to pay a certain percentage back to the customer to reduce the overhead or the overall cost of the project. And in our area, we have a company called Pico, which is the Philadelphia market, which we do.
Mhm.
In the Philadelphia market right now, for that particular automotive section of that building that we're doing, we're actually able to go in and put the lights in for a cost, and his cost on this particular job is 12,500 for a round number.
Mhm.
When we're done, we're going to fill out the paperwork to certify that the job was done correctly, send that back. They're going to reimburse him 100% for putting
Wow.
those LED. And that's why we're good.
That's pretty fabulous.
Yes.
People need to know about this, Norm.
Well,
Because
you're
just
telling everybody right now.
Yeah.
I know.
Good point, Norman.
Thanks.
Oh,
By the
you're-
way, I get one good point a week.
Yeah, there you go. One good
That's
one.
my point for the night.
So Linda,
Yeah.
we've done work down in Florida, and so you have obviously is was it Florida Power?
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah, what's it, Florida Power and something,
it's something.
FP, yeah.
So their rebate down there is not very strong. We've done work down there for some churches and some tennis courts, and those rebates aren't very strong. But that's one of the things that we have done is done research on the rebate, to your point, and then we follow that market. And
Yeah,
and when we find the newest rebates, but it also helps us expand here because everybody still needs them. So the places that have the rebates get done quicker.
sure.
But why everybody else is out running, trying to chase that down, then we stay closer to home, and we have a very good presence here in Pennsylvania as well.
So
Yeah.
let me give you a tip. Hold
Yeah.
on a second, Norm. Let me give you a tip. There is two in Florida. There is two FPL,
Yes.
Florida Power and Light, right?
Power and Light. Yep.
They are privately owned, where JEA is not.
Okay.
So you may want to just, check them out
Well, no, I
because
appreciate that. We
yeah.
will. We have a rebate finder. Everybody has one.
Mhm.
That you can go in and actually type in where you live, and it'll tell you generally who the utility companies are, and then what type of rebates. The biggest thing though is to have somebody like me. We're a trade ally, so we communicate with our utility companies by phone and email.
Mhm.
Today we had a question on a nonprofit that we're getting a rebate for. It's equivalent to a for-profit company, and we were like Fabricgas said, how can this be? They say they pay an electric bill. We don't care if they pay taxes or not. And their rebate is just as much as the manufacturer next door. So with being a trade ally, we can get the inside information and help our out.
Well, this is really cool, Norm. You hear this, right? Nonprofits, Norm.
Yeah.
Well, that was my next question. Can you please give them my phone number and name? I would love to chat with them.
Yeah.
But I have
We're looking for
another
referrals.
question for you, which I think, you know, that clipboard that you were
Yes.
talking about and you
Yeah.
walked around with? You yourself cover, or your company and you yourself cover 15 states.
Correct.
Is one of those states by chance California?
It is not at this time.
Well, let me give you a suggestion. Unless you had your head in the sand over the weekend, California, Northern California had 7 feet of snow,
Right.
right? That, to me, that's worth hopping a plane, going out to the West Coast with your clipboard, all right, and start going from house to house, because you can bet that not everybody, if not, I don't know how many people have a generator or don't have a generator, and they
Mhm.
certainly don't have the lighting. They would have the generator before the lighting, but I'm sure you could work out a package deal for these people that have been going through horrors. 7 feet of snow, winds that were 60, 70 plus miles an hour. That's nuts.
The other
Yeah, that
thing that
was-
comes to the
Go
other
ahead,
thing
Liz.
that comes to mind is the power grid,
Mhm.
right? So we're going into warmer season. And the way that some of the states have their power grid is they are what they call them blackout. So if you got your electricity going because you got the air conditioning and stuff, and then there's too much demand on the power,
Right.
look at all the lighting that can be changed and put more of that power back at the grid.
Well, Linda, you know what you just did? You reversed engineer how rebates work. Because what the rebate is to do is not to help necessarily my customers save money, although they do, because we cut their energy in, like I said, 50 to 75%. Their job and through the federal regulators is to reduce the load on the grid, save
Mhm.
maintenance dollars, and maintenance dollars cost more than rebate dollars.
Oh,
So the whole
sure.
idea is if they can do that by helping a customer to get LED, reduce that load on the grid, and same way with solar, that's where the win is. And it's also the win for my customer, and obviously a win for company. Rebates
Mm.
are what fuels that, but the maintenance on those power lines. What the ultimate goal is, as they're aging, you know, in our area, they're
Oh.
56 years old, and the maintenance is just, you know, phenomenal.
Speaking about 56 years old, I'm gonna go a step further. Do you service Virginia and Washington DC?
That we do.
Have you been to the White House or Congress or sat down with anybody who's involved and say, you know what? We're all trying to save energy over here. Well, I got a great way for you to go save some energy. It'll cost you a couple of dollars, but maybe you'll get a refund. Maybe you'll work out and get them a refund. And
That's a good idea.
let them
Yes.
set by example,
Right.
you
So
know.
there's a utility company that actually my brother-in-law worked for a utility company, and he had an office in Washington, downtown, and he actually would negotiate the sale of energy through PMG, which is the Pennsylvania Maryland
Mhm.
power line. And we got an invite, and when we found out how big this program was, it would probably take 2 years from the time you stepped in till someone would even say, yes, we'd be interested. And so we call that a whale, and we usually can catch trout, bass, and every once in a while we'll get a good marlin on. So we know the size of our company, but there are people that literally make a living at doing that, Norman. It just wasn't our timeframes for being able to do that. My brother-in-law now works for the federal government regulating the cost of energy. So
Well,
we
he'd be a
were the
good
right
person to
people.
get a hold of.
Yes.
For sure. I'm not sure if Norm asked you this. Why are you in the profession that you're in, Jeff?
So
He
if
likes
you look-
getting turned on and off.
right. We just thought it'd be a bright idea. You know,
I like that. That's a good one.
Linda, I had to beat you to the one you said earlier about, you know, illuminating. So at the bottom of
He's
the
charged
card,
up now, Norm.
yeah,
He's charged up.
Charged up.
this is fun, guys.
Yeah.
At the bottom of our business card on our website, even on our agreement, our contract, it says we do it for the wow.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll make this brief for you. We locally here, we have a hardware store that has competed with Home Depot and Lowe's, and they're still in business over 100 years. They're never going anywhere. They have the parking lot when you go by is always filled. And we do a lot of walk-ins where we walk into a company, in this case, a hardware store, and we said, hey, can we take a look at your lights? Like Norman said, with a clipboard. We'd say, hey, can we take a look at your lights? We'll come back, we'll put together a proposal, show you what the rebate dollars is. And the gentleman we're meeting with, we've known him since we were kids. He's still there, and he's a little disgruntled. We're just going to leave it at that. And I won't mention the hardware store name. And we go and we put this together, and we go back in, and it was $39,000 to do his entire store. It's huge. After negotiation and $3,000 less, he decided that we were going to do it for him. So we got the agreement signed. We ordered the lights. We got our team in from Virginia. Actually, we have traveling crews, and that's what we do is we meet on site. We project manage and work, and then we have crews that work with us on strategic partners.
Mhm.
We get in, and he said he could leave the store open. We could get in the store at 5 o'clock and work till midnight, 7-hour days, and we figured for 3 days. We didn't know that he started at 8 o'clock in the morning, and normally we'd go home at 8. So he's there from 8 in the morning till midnight. So the second night he comes out, and to my business partner at 5 after 12 said, hey, I need to get home. I'm tired. Bob says, listen, calm down for a minute. He said, they're literally going to turn the breakers on right now, and we're done. Because you got to be. They turned them on, and this cranky older gentleman said, wow. My store has never looked this good. If it'll help you out, he said, I can stay another 2 hours. You guys can get your scaffolding out and call it a night. And that's our motto is we do it for the wow.
Well, the wow factor. There was somebody that used to say, we do it for the wow factor. I'm not sure I've heard that one before, but it's that where it takes your breath away. Right? It's something that you can see that's leaves you speechless because
Right.
it's
We
just
want- We want everybody to go wow. And in order for
Yes.
them to go wow, they're going to have to be able to get in touch with Jeff. So
Absolutely.
Jeff, Why don't you tell everybody how they can get a hold of you?
So to get to our website is freeledpros.com. That's the shortcut. That's our domain to get there. Our direct telephone number is also on the website. That number rings to me. That is, I'm the only one in the company that will answer the phone no matter what time of day and night that rings. And that's area code 717-926-0191. And also email address is my name and Bottom Line Systems, the company name, .us as well. And once again, all that information is on our website.
So Jeff, I have a quick question. It's .us. So is this international?
No, so when we went and we started our business as a solar company, we were Bottom Line Sunshine. Get it? Solar Sunshine. My email was Selling Sunshine. But when we transitioned, .com is owned by a insurance filing company, and they were willing to sell it for a little over $250,000. And we just thought it was a bad investment. So .us is what we settled with.
Cool. Okay, Norman, what do you think?
I'm not done. I got plenty more to go here.
Okay.
Who is your best customers?
Our best customers are, first of all, people that are knowledgeable that they need LED lighting. One of our biggest things that we run into is people say my lights work. When you look across their footprint, it's colors of lights, and it just me because that's what I pick out. But our biggest actual best customers are very large warehouses, long hours of operation. Grocery stores is one of our biggest customers. Parking garages, those lights are on 24 hours a day as mandated by state law. The other one is hospitality, and hospitality does anywhere from hotels to motels. We finished a large job down in Georgia. Those lights are on 24 hours a day, 365 days a year in the common areas, always. And people don't think about it when you live in a studio complex in downtown Atlanta. We just walk from complex to complex. Those lights are on morning, noon, and night. And nobody really recognizes that, but that's is great opportunity. And our biggest one that we've done in the past has been franchise owners, to where we meet with one person that owns 7, 8, 15 locations, to where we meet with them one time. And in 2018 and 19, we were part of a group. We did over 400 KFCs up and down the Eastern Seaboard. And that's where we got our experience of working with franchise owners. We never worked with corporate KFC with Yum Brands. They tried, they have us come in, and they were not the decision maker. And that's our biggest, Norman, is getting in front of the person that can make the decision.
Well, that's for everybody, you know.
That's where everybody, and the part of that is usually we're getting in front of the decision maker. Our percentage of those folks doing business with us is well over 50%. Once they realize they have a need, we have a solution to it, and there's rebate money. There's tax benefits that go along with putting in LED as well.
What's the shelf life of a LED?
So an LED in the average retail business, Linda, is open 3,000 hours a year. And those, the lowest end product that we put in is rated for 50,000 up to about 120,000 hours. So to a retail store, that means that's a 17-year minimum fix. And that's on the expected lifespan of an LED tube or fixture.
Now, the next question I would have is, if one, you know how Christmas lights, if one goes bad, they all go bad. Does that apply to LEDs as well?
That goes back to what the technology changing. When we first put them in, we do menu boards for KFC. The other 9 went out. The technology now is end to end. The current will pass through and go to the next light. So that was a good question to ask. That's in the beginning. That's what we ran
Wait a
into.
minute. Stop with these good questions. I mean, she's got 3 or 4 good questions tonight. And I got one. Let me ask you a
I
question.
know, Norm, I know energy.
And now do you know, I think you know Jeff. That's what
I
I
do.
think you know. Question for you. Certain industries, I travel around a lot, we go to different arenas and theaters and what have you. And sometimes we'll have to walk into a supermarket or, if for some reason we got to go into a car dealership. These are the kind of places that really need to be lit up where people can go, like, especially a car dealership, and they go, wow. The wow is put for the car and the lighting that's shining over that car, making it look like a wow. And when you put up this lighting, do they ever talk to you about painting? Like painting the walls and why it should be white?
Yes, and I have a perfect example of that.
Was that a good question?
That was a great question,
Okay,
Norman.
just
Very-
want to check. I got to compete with her.
Yeah, and so we just shared this the other day. So one of our biggest customers is Enterprise Rent-A-Car. And when we met with them, we did 2 locations and then they gave us 5 and then they did 10. We've done over 90 now. But when we went down and met them at their regional office in Philadelphia on Eskington Drive, it is a huge facility. They moved 1,200 cars in that lot a day and moved 1,200 back out. So it is a machine. We contracted to do 145 lights in the parking lot and 90 offices in their regional office. And they literally made the decision why I was there. And then we didn't know why until we got all done. The day we got done, which was on a Friday, when we went back Monday to pick our lifts up and our equipment, they were tearing the walls down and repainting, new carpeting. And she said, the last thing I want to do is remodel, put new lights in, and found out that I goofed up. So they put the lights in first. And it makes all the difference in the world as they're installing the new,
That would definitely increase sales.
most definitely.
Increases. I know I grew up, I don't know if you're familiar with the area or not, or you've heard about it. I lived in the Bronx, New York.
Okay.
And they were buildings, they were pre World War II buildings, post World War One. And we lived in there and the outlets and the receptacles were all small little 40, 60 watt bulbs. Right? That was so dark, and I never forget as a kid, I always wanted to get something brighter, but you put in a 120 or a 100 in a 40 or a 60, and you're maybe looking for a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Norman,
So,
go ahead, Linda.
I was just I have to circle back to what Norm was saying about the car dealership. If you're getting so much light, think about this, right? The rugs before, they didn't look dirty. The walls didn't look dirty, right? They have to now because now the light is showing.
They don't use carpeting anymore, though.
Whatever it was, they have to
put
do
in,
that now
actual flooring, no more carpeting.
because it just makes everything stand out, all the defects, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
But we're gonna
our
believe it or not, we are past halftime.
Oh, wow. Boy, time
already.
flies
So
when
we're
you're having
gonna
fun.
we're gonna do a commercial so we can be back next week. And then they'll let us be back because we paid our bills. So stay tuned, everybody. We're gonna be back in just 2 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Lisa Rodino. I am a commercial loan advisor and broker. Have you been finding that your business's cash flow is not where you need it to be? Have you found yourself taking from your personal accounts to meet your business's obligations? Have you found that those quick solutions of quick money are starting to get awfully expensive? My job is to find the right funding products for my clients so they can get back to working in their business and give me the task of finding the best options for their situation. Give us a call today to learn more. 516-268-0350.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Friend Entertainment USA. My name is Norman Wasserman. I am also known as the Music Man. Let me just tell you a little bit about Friend Entertainment. We put on concerts for charities, and we do that everywhere from New York to Las Vegas.
We do R&B, Motown, rock and roll, jazz, whatever it is that you wish. Friend Entertainment will deliver the best of the best for you and your charity. Here are some of the names of the talent that have performed with us on our stage. Stevie Wonder, Tina Turner, The Temptations, Earth, Wind and Fire, the one and only ELO, Elton John himself, Kool and the Gang, and the fabulous Donna Summer. Go to our website, friendentusa.com. That's www.friendentusa.com, or feel free to call us at 631-698-9696. 631-698-9696, and we'll see you at the next show.
We're back.
And welcome back to the Business Awareness Hour with our guest Jeff Lambert and our co-host Linda Grace Farley. And Linda, I apologize to you. You know, we lost our music in the very beginning. We're in a new studio, as I said, very much state in the art, so I thought. So we're going to have a little conversation afterwards. But that all being said, tell everybody what it is that you do.
Actually, my business is Cycles of Life Management Services, where I help people to navigate the ebbs and flows of life and realizing their true potential from a body, mind, and spirit perspective. From a body perspective, I am a partner with the Beamer Corporation in promoting an FDA Class 2 cleared medical device that helps to increase blood flow. So, yeah, there it is. That's who
And
I
how
am.
do they reach you?
They reach me by, they can either go to my website, which is cyclesoflife.beamergroup.com, or they can call me at 845-238-0637, and I'll be glad to enlighten them into what Beamer can do for them.
Yeah, you can turn them on too.
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. You know what? I'm going to jump back now to Jeff since he's
Okay.
this is part of his, or this is his hour. You
Yes.
we asked you a question about an interesting story.
Okay.
You wrote a very interesting story. You are a very unique kind of guy. Tell everybody about the Trojan horse.
Yeah. So, I'll give you the short version of this. When I got out of the military in 1983, I was fortunate enough to get a job at a company called Trojan Yacht. They were the premier yacht builders in the country, and it was literally 5 miles from my home. It was union. We made very good money. We had an opportunity to work overtime. And being just come out of the military and being a young man, I didn't realize how good of a job I had until the plant manager threatened to fire me and said, you either do that or I'm going to teach you to replace me. And I want you to learn all of the positions. And I was a mechanic. I used my hands. We built cabinets for the boats and we put carpeting in. And through the stages of building a yacht, it starts with a fiberglass, which nobody wanted to do. And
Because you get sick.
Yep. It smells, it's sticky, it's itchy. And he put me in there, and within about 9 weeks, I was actually leading a crew on making the hulls of the boats. And I loved fiberglass. It was just, so many things you could do that a lot of people didn't know how to do or didn't want to do. So I made a name for myself in Trojan Yacht. And then in 93, with the luxury tax came out, it was a 10% luxury. So these were $250,000 boats. So they added $25,000, and very quickly Trojan had to sell to Bertram, and then Bertram sold to somebody else, and they closed the factory. So I worked in construction for a while, needed to have back surgery after about 11 years of doing that. And one day decided to start a fiberglass business in a turkey barn that I knew somebody had. It was empty. And we went in there and we started making fiberglass backboards.
Did you put the right lighting in there?
Excuse me?
Did you put the right lighting in there?
No, I didn't know what LED was, and it couldn't afford it back then anyhow. It was all fluorescent T12 old lights. But when we got in there, we had a niche in the market because I could do things that a lot of people couldn't do. We could fix boats and we could build molds, and we finally got recognized by a company out of New Jersey that invited us in to make three-dimensional animals. And we didn't know what the project was for. We got drawings, we quoted. We met in New Jersey or in New York, excuse me, at a meeting. That was in New Jersey. And while we're there, I'm trying to figure out, because I'm the youngest guy there, and everybody seemed to know what they were going to be doing. And finally, when I said, "So what am I doing?" They said, "You're the animal guy. No one else has quoted that job. You got it." And I'm thinking, okay, what did I sign up for with the animal guy? So we go down in there. On the floor is a seahorse that's about 35 feet long, laying on its back, 9 feet for its beak going up in the front, curled tail. And he goes, "What we need to do is I need to make 4 of these. And that's one of your jobs. Is you make a mold, you make 4 of these. And then there's other items throughout this building, and they had them all there. And that's what we did. We signed up for this, and I had 9 employees at the time, and we started bringing these back to our shop here in Wrightsville, and we started making parts. When we got just about done, they realized they had nobody to install these parts because they were carpenters, they were woodworkers, and we were fiberglass people with grinding
How
and
long
itching.
did it take you? How long did it take you to do it?
We worked for over a year to produce the parts, and then they put them on a barge in New Jersey, and they barged them over to the Bahamas. And that's when I finally realized how big and what the spectrum of this project was, Norman.
Sure.
It was for the Atlantis. That is on Paradise Island.
Oh,
Wow.
And we show up there with our crew, and we were all young people, and we were there. They gated an area off in the parking lot of a luxury hotel, which all the construction workers stayed at for free, 2 meals a day, workman's comp.
Oh,
And we was living in luxury, but we worked every day. And when those seahorses went and held up what's called a bridge room, Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, they rent that room for $10,000 a night. That's not food, it's not hotel, that's just a room. And what the story goes is those 4 seahorses, or Atlantis, are the ones that would raise that out of the ocean, as per the book and the movie.
Mhm.
We had the privilege of actually going up underneath 210 feet in the air and literally bolting these to the building, because we mechanically know how to do it and no one else really wanted to do it. And what's very unique is, to this day, when we go on a cruise, and anyone that's listening to this and anyone that's been there, when you pull into Nassau, you pull up in the left side of the boat, the port side, always facing the ocean. And if you look straight ahead, you'll see all of the fiberglass animals, the shells, the balconies. That was all created here in the little town of Wrightsville, Pennsylvania, with my leadership and my group of very talented people.
they have mermaids too, aren't there?
Yeah,
mermaids
we
in the
got
building,
we
right?
got mermaids. They got dolphins. Above every room is a circle. It was called a rosette. They're
Mhm.
bigger than what you think they are until you get in a room and go out and look. It's 9 feet in diameter from the ground. It looks like the size of a quarter, but it's
Mm.
cool because every time we pull in the port there, I'm able to share that story with associates and stuff that we've
What
gone
a
on
great
vacation
memory.
with.
That's great.
Mhm.
That's really great. Good stuff.
So,
Good
so
stuff.
how long were you in the fiberglass business for?
For
Jeff?
7 years. And the unfortunate end to that story was, Linda, is the company that we contracted with set up their corporation in the Bahamas, which is a British colony. You
Oh,
cannot sue anybody. They did not pay their bill. 8 contractors ended up, 7 of them lost their businesses immediately. It took me about a year and a half. We ended up in the file for bankruptcy and find new careers.
Mm.
That's the bad part of the story.
Yeah. Well, fiberglass isn't Corvettes or fiberglass bodies, right?
Yes, Corvettes.
Yeah.
Just back in the day, there was a lot of every boat you see out there, fiberglass. There's carbon fiber and different strengths of it. It's just a matter of in swimming pools now. If they used to
Mhm.
use gunite in the pool, that's all made in
Yeah.
the mold. They pop it out, they drop it down, put stone, fill it up with water, they stone underneath it, and installing these things in one day. And that technology is a very dying trade.
Oh, wow.
Let's go over now your website, because there's some very
Okay.
interesting things on there.
Yes.
Linda, take it away, babe.
Okay. Oh, I love this. Our latest tip from Lumi.
Oh,
You
how
know, that's
nice.
one thing about it. It's like the light bulb is here. Yeah, you know, if anybody comes out to the website, they can see this cute little animated light bulb.
Time for
Could
another.
you tell could you tell
Yeah.
our audience how this light bulb came into
Can you play that, Dylan?
You want me to answer that first? You want to play it first?
I want to make sure we can play. Dylan, you
Okay.
got that?
Yes, we can play it.
LED tip from Lumi.
Bottom Line Systems LED is all about results. Results that directly impact your business's bottom line. We're showcasing success stories of area companies who've made the smart move on up to LED lighting and continue to reap the benefits year after year. Companies like W&J Enterprises Automotive, whose annual lighting expense was cut from $2,900 to $1,600, saving them $1,300, while Zimmerman's Ace Hardware saw a 50% drop in their lighting expense, saving nearly $4,000 annually. And Enterprise Rent-A-Car's annual $43,000 tab dropped by $27,000, powered by an LED upgrade from Bottom Line Systems. Mention this ad or tell them Lumi sent you and receive 10% off. Results-driven lighting solutions from Bottom Line Systems. Custom LED lighting designs for virtually any space.
What a great commercial. What a great voice that guy had.
That was when I got out of the fiberglass business. I took a job as a home improvement salesman, and the
Mhm.
gentleman that made the video and created Lumi was my boss back then. He's the one that hired me. And even way back then, it was 2021, he talked about 2022. He talked about the internet and where it was going to be and what he wanted to. And he is now retired. He shot that absolutely for free for us, put it together. We paid him a couple dollars to do the editing, and his partner is the voice, and the video portion is my business associate and actually a friend of mine, Damon Lignos, who we have stayed in touch all these years, came back, and when we got together, that's what he put together for us.
So in here, it's the one process consists of 4 steps. The lighting assessment, that's free. I mean, a lot of people, this is beautiful in my eyes because somebody's interested in doing this. If you can show them the bottom line, and everybody loves the bottom line, right?
Right?
Jeff and Norman, everybody loves that.
Yeah.
If
That's
it's
the name of the
positive
company.
bottom line,
Yeah, so if they could save that kind of money, you know, where their utility bill is reduced, you know, but they're getting a free assessment right there. I mean, that
you ever
that
do
in
a
itself-
lighting? Do you ever do a lighting and solar job?
We did that in the beginning, Norman, but in Pennsylvania, solar is just now starting to make a rebound. So it was, we now work with a local solar company that we do is a reduce and produce program, to where they put solar in to produce energy, we put LED lighting in it to reduce their usage. And so it does team together, but we're not in the solar side of it.
But that's local first. And that, right, Jeff? That's local. You're a local
Right.
solar play. Yeah, and that's where survival takes over, because when you do things locally, right, then you have it's more trust, more collaboration, more of the above. So we have a solution design and financing. So there's
we-
financing involved.
Yes, we do everything. We advertise ourselves, or Linda, when we talk to somebody, that we're turnkey. A lot of companies come out and will offer the assessment. They want money for it. And then what they do, they take that, they send it off to engineering or architects, and they design what they're going back with. The company then goes back and either sells it, or whatever they do, and then they go and they subcontract. And we call that disjointed. Like, what happens if a light isn't working? Who's the warranty through? Who decided to put that light level or color there? We take full responsibility, so we do the assessment at no cost. We just ask the exchanges to be able to meet with the decision maker when we're done, and 90% of the time we are. And we put it together, and then we, as a company, we don't use subcontractors unless we're on a huge job. And we call them strategic partners because we're in charge of the job. They're working for us. not the customer. Because remember, we
Mhm.
do it for the wow. So we want to make
Mhm.
sure we're wowing our customer. And then if a customer says, hey, I'd love to do it, but we don't have financing, we have a finance partner that does it, and they're local here from Pennsylvania as well. And then once the install is done, we're going to get the other half of our money, and I want to make sure we do, and also get a 5-star review, which we have on every job that we've completed, and make sure we walk out the door that we can get more work, or we can get referrals for them down the road.
So on a typical, say you have a development of houses going up. On a typical development of houses type of thing, what would be from start to finish? Say if you're going to be doing someone's house from start to finish and you're putting in LED for everything, what would be kind of like the average time spent there on a, just say a 2,000 square foot
How many
house?
houses are you talking about?
Well, if you have a 2,000 square foot house in a development and there's say 30 houses and they're all the same size, you would
Okay,
think,
so he's got 60 houses,
yeah, yeah.
30 houses.
So about how long would it take to go through the installation of delivery placement, installation and approval for a 2,000 square foot house?
So, Linda, unfortunately, and I didn't get a chance to put that note in there, we are no longer in the residential market, and here is the reason why. When you go in to do lighting, because you need to be in there before they put the drywall up, and then we cut in, you put the drywall. The steps got so disjointed that if a contractor got held up on plumbing, they couldn't put drywall up. So if you were to schedule and then you were sitting on product for 45, 60 days, and then the major change, Linda, is when Home Depot and Lowe's were mandated that they can only sell LED lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Then the manufacturer became so inexpensive that it's easier for the homeowner or a contractor that's building it to purchase it. So our full focus now is strictly commercial. But to
Mm-hmm.
give you an idea, if you were in your local grocery store, let's say a Whole Foods, places like that, you're somewhere around
Sure.
15 to 20,000 square feet.
Mm-hmm.
That we usually look at it at dollar marks because we know how much money we can install per crew.
Sure,
So,
sure.
So on a job like that, we would typically be there 8 days. Our installers work 4/10s,
Mm-hmm.
Monday through Thursday. They get a 3-day weekend along with my admin. And then that's also very good question asked, Linda, because when we go and we set that expectation with the business owner or a grocery store or car dealership, how long are we going to be, uprooting them or changing things? Because we
Mhm.
typically work alongside with them, like we did with
Mhm.
the grocery store while they're open. It's just convenient, and then as it does, we also pick up a lot more work. People are asking
Mhm.
questions, and it's
By the
amazing.
way, I'm sure you're familiar with the supermarket chain called Wegmans.
Yes.
They're opening up stores like crazy again. They're doing their first store out here in Long Island. So they're on an increase of
Mm.
new stores or places they haven't been before. You may want to check
Mhm.
into that one.
And Norman, the one thing I have to give them guys credit for, there's a few companies that we could call out. Wegmans is one of them. They actually have an inside LED crew that fits those new properties out. The other one is Ocean Lot. It's in your territory. I can't remember what it. They
Ocean
actually
Job Lot?
Ocean Job Lot actually has their
Yeah,
own
yeah.
LED department that specs out the lights, change them because they're buying up the old Kmart stores. And that's
Yeah.
what we specialize in, guys, is we retrofit. In other words, the store's already standing, it has old lights in. We go in and take them out and we put LED in. But the difference between us and those folks is we can get a rebate to where a company is self-performing, they can't
Mhm.
get the rebate for it. They save the money on the labor end now.
We talked a lot about LED and monies and saving or whatever, but what are some of the non-financial benefits of converting to LED?
So the non-financial ones are things that we don't think enough about because, as I said in the beginning, that natural light influences our behaviors. So
Mm.
some of the non-financial ones are stress, headache at work, looking at a screen with the wrong kind of lighting above you, reflections of fluorescent light versus LED does not give off a reflection on your screen.
Mhm.
And so one of our biggest one is a stress-free work environment. Then the other part of that is being able to see to do tasks over top of a workbench in a machine shop. We put what's called a 5,000 Kelvin. It's like working outside, but not direct
Mm.
sunlight. The other part
Oh.
of that is too, there's no UV rays for LED, which means it's very stressful. It doesn't hurt your skin to where you literally can get sunburn from fluorescent too.
Mhm.
Those are some of the non-financial benefits, Norman.
There are many of those.
Yes,
That's a shame.
There's a-
Did we cover, who would be a great power partner for you?
great power partner for us is, once again, is people that work in the franchise world. I was recently through NRG, introduced to a gentleman that actually helps people finance and buy franchises.
Mhm.
So he's been a great help. We haven't finalized anything, but we're working on that. And the other one are property managers, to where they're tasked by their ownership that they manage a facility or a grocery store or big parking lots, mainly shopping centers. And so it'd be a commercial developer or property manager. And what they do then is all of a sudden the owner comes in, I need new lights. Well, you should see the questions and we have now got relationships that when that comes across, they simply call us. Within 2 business days, we're out there in their parking lot. We'll put it together in less than 1 week. They can go back to the owner and show them what we've done. And we have referrals from pretty large global management companies that we're a vendor for.
So I wanted, if we could, I'd like to circle back to, you're primarily commercial.
Correct.
What if somebody looked at your website and said, hey, I have a house that I'd like to convert? Would you refer them out?
Yes, we would refer them. We have a company that we looked at doing it and we didn't think it would be successful. Is you would show up with a van that has lights, because they're light bulbs, there's fixtures and things you can unscrew and screw something back in. They literally will show up and complete a service while they're right there on site. You don't need to go to Home Depot. They'll put a couple samples in, make sure it's right, and they'll literally go through your house and change out light bulbs and fix.
And they are because you have a reputation, that
Right.
person that you're sending, yes.
Correct. And we do
So-
in Pennsylvania, you need to have a license, a registered license number, and we do even on the residential side, because we deal with customers on our generators side of the business. So that number is very important to us.
So the word of the day is that local first again.
Now, the
Where-
word of the day is wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the word of the day. That's how we
Wow,
started
because
the
it is
show.
local.
The wow
That's how
factor.
we're ending it. All right. And I got to tell you, Jeff, you were a great, great guest. You know,
Wow.
I talk about it every week. You know, we all do one-on-ones, you know, in our little world. We do the one-on-ones,
Yeah.
but they never come out the same way that this show presents people. It's a totally different story, whether it's the attitude of the guest, you know, with the idea of getting the awareness. I don't know how to explain it, except that every week I learn more and more. I have people to refer to you now. There are
Yes.
NRG members that you like. For argument's sake, have you met with Phil Dublé?
No, I have not.
Well, Phil Dublé is someone that you should call, and what triggered it to me was that he's like a fractional CEO.
Okay.
He's getting companies ready to sell and or franchise.
Mhm.
He's
Oh.
he's out of Canada, and he's somebody that if you want his phone number, I can give it to you. You call me tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll give you tomorrow. But there are other people just like that. So I mean, you just learn so much from our guests that come on here, and I thank you very, very much. Stay there for just a minute or two. Linda and I are going to say goodnight to everybody.
Yes.
What a great show he did. What a great show you did. You had like 5 or 6 special questions.
Yes, indeed.
You did a good job. You did a good job tonight. Well, I thank you, Lynn, for being here this evening. I thank everybody for tuning in and watching. And we'll see you next Tuesday on the Business Awareness Hour. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.
Night.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
This has been the Business Awareness Hour with Norman, the Awareness Guy. Thanks for tuning in. See you next time.